G'day guys and girls. Not sure whether this is going to be part of part 4 or part 5 at this stage. Honestly, I've been sitting on this now since setting it up for about an hour or two, just getting a feel for it. Quite frankly, the way I'm sitting right now is not very comfortable, but hey, there's no padding, so you're going to get that. One thing I have noticed is I'd like this front edge to drop down a little bit. Not a huge amount, just a little bit. I'm sort of held up the bar that I put across the back here. That's about as far as the backrest of the seat's going to go. But yeah, it's working. So I'm going to work on dropping this front edge down just a scooch, maybe an inch at the most, and trying to put some front to back cross braces in it. So now it's time to pull all of this stuff back off it. One of the things I'm having trouble with mounting this seat is I'm kind of floating in space here. I've got a tiny bit of sheet metal holding up the front here, and that back bracing holding up the backrest. That's it. Now I've got to try and put something under these bars here on either side. There's one over here as well. Try and run something front to back that it can just bolt to. Getting the angle of the seat is probably one of the most important things. You know, you're going to be sitting in it all the time, and you want to be comfortable. Just realised I wasn't wearing any hearing protection. One of my real bad habits. Always got eye protection. I love saying stuff. I also happen to love music and other noises. So I bought myself these the other day, hoping that they'd make me be a bit more proactive about hearing hearing safety. These things, first set I got were rubbish. Had to take them back and swap them over. But so far I've been pretty impressed with the new set. Same brand, just a replacement. But yeah, being able to wander around and listen to music instead of just having it blasting and trying to hear it from all the various corners of the yard does make a difference. You know, see what we can listen to now. Alright, so these are the mounts I made. Made out of angle iron that came out of an old trailer I cut up recently, and a bit of square steel tube for the risers. I drilled a couple of holes in the angle iron so I could bolt them to the seat frame, and I wedge cut them at the back so that they sat over the square steel tube and gave me somewhere to weld to. Once I had that done, I used a bottle jack, which I will just grab. Put this bottle jack at the front to hold up the seat frame. So I just stuck it in here and jacked it up to the height I wanted. And that's how I got the seat to hold in place. I then tack welded the angle iron at the back and cut some square steel tube to get the front section raised where I wanted it. It sounds simple, but it took a bit of thinking and working out. Whew. Well, that's the first time I've had it in mounted properly, and feels strong, feels comfortable. I'm happy. So as you can see, with the seat frame fitted, before I welded in the mounts, it was near on impossible to really show you anything of the progress of how I did it. As I said, I used the bottle jack at the front here of the seat to bring up the front, and just used the angle iron to mount it at the rear. It's fairly straightforward, but it took a lot of working out to see how I was going to go about it. I like to try and keep these as light as possible, but keeping the strength in them. You still got to think that, you know, 2 adults sitting on this seat is a reasonable amount of weight. Sometimes 2 adults and a kid or a dog, in our case. You got to think about, you know, how much you're moving around and all that sort of thing as well. I do rather make things too strong rather than not strong enough, because the last thing you want to have to do is repairs. So it probably doesn't look like much, but basically I'm just trying to fill that gap. I'll sheet metal over the top where you can see light and weld the ends, and that should come up pretty good once it's all ground back and smooth. A little bit of filler and you won't know it's there. so it still needs more welding and grinding back and all that sort of stuff. But that gives you a fair idea of what I was trying to achieve, just to fill in that gap between the seat and the back panel. Shouldn't take me too long to get it finished off. Just have to go slow so you don't warp all the sheet metal. The bar I put in across here is only very thin. It's basically sheet metal itself, but it's a tube, just from an old gazebo. But that should tidy up the look at the front here, being that the seat's going to end here. Leaving gaps doesn't look good, so I've still got to tidy up the corners where the boot is to shut and square them off, just because it looks a little bit odd with the seat behind it. I'm still not sure whether I'm going to move the boot opening outward to match the seat, or just leave it as is and try and make a door card as such that fits into the area. That's going to be fairly tricky if I decide to go that way. But we'll work it out. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Cheers.